He's Rich Eisen, the host of the NFL Network, the Rich Eisen Show on Peacock that follows ours, and he joins us on the program. How's morale, Rich?
Morale's great, Dan. Not to pull back the curtain and peel back the layers, but you sat down like 10 seconds before the segment began. That was a very Berman-like move out of you, Dan. Normally you're in place, you're in position, best I can recall from back in the day. I mean, you sat down, headphone on, you did the read.
Yeah.
Thought you were talking about my family being extraordinary, but you were talking about Mercedes-Benz, which I understand. It's your sponsor.
Yeah.
But that's my observations to kick off this conversation.
I would always cut it close on SportsCenter because it was such a long walk from the newsroom all the way over. And inevitably you'd run into somebody or somebody would hand you something and I'd sit down. Now, I never got to the point where the music was playing with the SportsCenter theme, but I cut it closer than I needed to. So I still have nightmares about showing up late for SportsCenter.
I have them too. One of the first times I almost was late was in the very, very, very beginning back in '96 when I come down the stairs from the third floor where you had an office and I had a cubicle. And I come down the stairs to walk to the second floor hallway that gets to the studio. And that's where I first met Craig Kilborn, who asked me if I was the new guy that was on the air. And I'm like, yeah, I was. He goes, that's right. You're doing a lot of my stuff. And then we walked the other way. That's the way I got introduced to the great Craig Kilborn, Kilby, Lord Kilby himself. Yeah.
Did it get any better, your relationship with Kilborn, since he accused you of basically plagiarizing?
It did. It went up from there like a rocket ship, Dan. I had him on this show just last month. So, he's still Kilby. He's got a pod now. He's got his pod now, and he's doing great. So, yeah, we're good.
Well, I saw where Keith Olbermann has a podcast now. Craig Kilborn has a podcast now.
Yeah.
And it's the worst thing you can hear. Hey, I've got a podcast. Would you be a guest?
Well, but the answer is yeah. I mean,
I know, but like you would do it. But I had somebody say, hey, I got a podcast and I'm only going to keep you for 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And so I go over and basically I'm sort of in a closet and we went an hour. I had to interrupt the person doing a podcast to say, hey, I got to go. And it goes, oh, I thought we were having a great time. Yeah, like I didn't want to be mean or rude, but after 20 minutes, we got to 60 minutes. And I had to say, I got to go.
It's when the host overstays his or her invitation. I don't know what it is, but you can tell, obviously, Dan, you having done your show since the beginning of time, essentially at ESPN, you can tell when you're interviewing somebody that you've gone a little bit longer than they expected. Their answers get a little bit shorter and clippy, right? I mean, I can feel it. It took me a few years to figure that one out, but I can sense it now.
And sometimes when you're in front of somebody, you can tell. I mean, it's easier. They have a tell, like, kind of done with this. But then when it's on radio or a podcast, you have to listen for that. And I did an interview with David Harbour from Stranger Things, Hopper. Yeah. And he was unbelievable. And then he got to a point where it was around 28 minutes. And the answers got shorter. And then I realized, okay, I gotta wrap this up. So I think I asked one or two more questions. And then that was it. But he gave me the hint because the answers got shorter.
It's the Hopper line. The 28-minute is the same Hopper line when things get stranger.
Well, somebody will go, hey, got a couple of minutes. It's never a couple of minutes, ever. Ever.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm with him. Yes, I am.
All right. So the commissioner is on the clock here.
Yes.
What do you think the commissioner will and should do?
I think what he should do is double the suspension, because that, I think, puts Watson and I would believe the Players Association in the position of maybe suing. I don't know if they would sue. If he does the full year, I think they end up trying to place this into court. And that's where we can see potentially a restraining order being put in so Watson plays week one. And I don't know if the league wants that to happen. And I think they maybe just double the suspension, make it 12 games. So, Watson can return this year. And it also is a significant suspension, more than the 6 games. Obviously, 6 games is a third of the season, but I'm already seeing players in the league tweeting about, talking about, and I'm hearing what they're saying as well, that 6 games is essentially a vacation for him. It doesn't bite into his salary because of the way that the Browns put his contract together. So it doesn't go the full year, where that would potentially, I think that would absolutely trigger a court case that he'd like to avoid. But outside of all that, that's what I think he should do, because 12 games is significant.
What if he doesn't do anything?
Well, I mean, not doing anything, it would be born out of him trying to show that this process wasn't, if you will, a sham, that this is what was collectively bargained between the players and the judge, and that even though it is his right to jack up the suspension, he won't do it because of the potential criticism that he will not take this process seriously. And I don't think he's going to do that and just leave it the way it is. That's the only reason why he would leave it the way it is, because you saw in the opinion, if you read what the judge wrote, she basically said Watson did it, wasn't remorseful about doing it, but due to the way that things have happened in the past, where the league has moved around what the precedence is for a suspension, because the policy was kind of a mess with the Ray Rice issue, and that's even brought up in there, and Brady with the Deflategate, that the league has moved the goalposts, if you will, on what's precedence and what's not in the past. And so I think maybe, just maybe, they're pointing out what a mess it used to be to say that precedence is this now. And if the league leaves that precedence, then they're done with the past and they can reset this policy moving forward. I don't think that's what the league's going to do. I think they will up it. I heard what you said in the previous segment, that you're hearing the hammers being brought down. Doubling the suspension might be the way to kind of thread the needle.
Yeah, I just don't think you could put somebody in place and then all of a sudden say, we don't like what your first ruling is,
right,
so now we're going to Bigfoot you here. Then the next time this happens, it just kind of sets a bad precedent. And it feels like everything is precedent here with, hey, this happened to Zeke Elliott. This happened to Ben Roethlisberger. Therefore, the judge came to this. Hey, here's the precedent. You had a ruling and we didn't agree with it. Now we're going to Bigfoot you. It just gets into dangerous territory. I don't like the ruling. Right. I would have suspended him for a year, but I also have to factor in everything she pointed out in her summary here. I'd like, she was fair to the sample size of and the history of everything that's happened here. I don't like it, but I blame the NFL for getting in this position.
Well, I mean, ultimately, it's Deshaun Watson that's put everybody in this position. And so there's the court of public opinion that matters, Dan, because everyone seems to forget that, yes, this is a judge who's deciding this. And yes, this is a collective bargaining agreement that has been hammered out between two sides of a business. And that's what this is. It is a business. This is not a court of law. This wasn't a grand jury. Those are the people that we should potentially take a look at down in Houston as to why, if this was defined per the NFL's collective bargaining agreement's definition of sexual assault, then why didn't that meet the bar legally? What's going on there? This is not the judge and jury and the actual judge and jury. This is the NFL. This is a business, and the court of public opinion matters.
Yeah.
And there are enough consumers pissed off about this that I believe the NFL is going to act.
We're talking to Rich Eisen, NFL Network host and host of the Rich Eisen Show. You can watch that on Peacock following our show. The Nationals are in the process of calling up multiple minor leaguers. I would believe Juan Soto is Gonzo. And I'm hearing the Cardinals. I'm hearing the Cardinals, but I don't have any verification on that. I mean, it could be the Padres. I don't know, but I'm wondering if he's going to go to the Cardinals. But that's
whoever it is, they better
happening.
not send him. They better not send him a commercial ticket, right? They should. They better send the jet
Oh,
ticket
okay.
to get him,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because that's, as we all know, that's the way you treat Juan Soto. You better send a jet. You don't put him in first class for the home run derby.
Are you going to be a Rams or Chargers guy this year? Who goes farther?
Oh, the Rams. This is West Coast, or East Coast bias against the West Coast. Dan, what if the Patriots, honestly, take a look at what the Rams did last year,
all right,
and what they did in the offseason, and adding Allen Robinson and adding Bobby Wagner and keeping Aaron Donald in the fold and their coach in the fold, and Cooper Kupp is getting paid. Look at how they have set everything up for their repeat possibility championship season. And just imagine if the Patriots were the team. Just remove the Rams and insert Patriots in that spot. Okay. Insert Giants, insert Cowboys in that spot. The whole country would be descending upon Rams training camp and trying to figure out what's going on. It's just because it's Los Angeles and everybody figured, Stafford, that was a real nice story. You got a TV commercial out of it, a phone commercial, a phone deal out of it. Honestly, they've set everything up. They've got the coach, the quarterback, the wide receiver coming off a Triple Crown season. Cam Akers is more healthy. They've got Wagner behind Donald in front of Ramsey. I mean, they're set. And the rest of the division appears to have gotten weaker when you assume the Niners are going to start a quarterback that will have even more ups and downs than Jimmy Garoppolo, which is saying a lot. So I will take the Rams 1,000% in that, Dan.
Yeah, but we haven't had repeaters since the Patriots in 2003.
Right. First 2 seasons of NFL Network, as a matter of fact. Those were the last time. And we're turning 20 next year. So it's been a while. That said, I'm not saying they're going to repeat. You asked which one's going to go further. And I need to see what the Chargers look like. They have made, I'm sure a Charger fan would counter that they got Khalil Mack and they added J.C. Jackson, and it's another year for Justin Herbert. And I do like what they've done and what they can be, but that division I think is much tougher than the NFC West, and I'll take the defending champs in that construct.
I worry, and you know this since we work in the business, like the mothership last week was all in on the Raiders. They had a day and a half where all they did is talk about the Raiders, and so they're the hot team. I always get nervous with that when somebody's like, they're all in on a team and the Raiders. And then, Derek Carr says, hey, nobody talks about us. I'm going, do you watch ESPN?
Well, I've been on them since March when they got Devontae Adams and then signed Chandler Jones. And I called my shot saying that, and I've talked myself into it.
Are they too hot, though, Rich?
Well, I'm taking them to win the division. I'm taking them to win the division.
Wow.
It's so rare to add somebody like Devontae Adams. And normally
anybody want a piece of Rich Eisen? Pie to the face.
No pies. I knew you were going to go on the pie.
What?
What do you mean?
How about a cake, not a pie? A cake to the face.
I don't know. A baked good might have more heft to it. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, Fritzy.
I think we do a potato knish to the face. Why don't we do that?
Potato knish.
Very on brand. Very on brand. And if they're eliminated by Hanukkah, it would be perfect timing, right?
Exactly.
So that would be,
okay, so no pie to the face. So you're not.
Come on. I mean, it's a total dartboard shot here because it's the toughest division in football.
All right. What if Fritzy takes the Broncos?
Oh, that I'll take.
Okay.
Yeah.
For a knish to the face. Whatever a knish is.
Okay. Well, it's like a potato, sort of like a potato calzone is the way I would describe it to the goyim out there.
Yes,
which that could burn. I'm just saying. It could be pretty hot.
Okay.
You got to be careful with a knish.
Okay. So Fritzy, you got
So we're saying the Broncos will finish better than the Raiders. Is that
a refrigerated knish to the face?
Yes.
To make things the safest possible.
Yes.
Yes.
Let's do that. Let's do that.
Fair enough.
That's fun.
Fair enough.
Absolutely. While the rest of the Dan Patrick and Rich Eisen show staff do the horror around us. We do that. Lift us on a chair.
Oh, yeah. You know that happens now where it's not a Jewish wedding.
Really?
I went to 2 weddings this summer, and they're sampling because all of a sudden somebody's up on a chair, and I go,
wait a minute.
Wait, is he Jewish? And then they go, no. And I go, Wait a minute.
That's not cool. You can't sample traditions like that.
That's like the Seinfeld episode where, Tim Watley, the dentist, he became a Jew just so he could tell Jewish jokes. I mean, that's not cool. Like, you can't just take the chair and the horror and say,
agree.
Taking that, you got to take the guilt with it. I mean,
I was going to step in on behalf of my Jewish brethren, and I was going to say, hey, get down from there.
Come on.
Yes.
You have, by the way, I give you full rights to do that.
The chutzpah of these Meshuggahs. And I said, what are we doing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Dan, well done.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Thank you, Rich. Good to talk to you, buddy.
Always. Take care, DP.
That's Rich Eisen, the popular host of the NFL Network and the Rich Eisen Show that follows.
You're being serious about this wedding thing?
2 weddings this summer. Both had the lift the chair, put the bride and the groom up there on the chairs.